Hi, all of you. Good afternoon. So, how has it been? Two sessions of geographical thought. Hi, Vatsala, Kanchan, Akash, Preetha. Tell me, did you go back and make your summaries, all of you? Okay. Some of you nod the head. ये भी nod कर रहा है, ये भी कर रहा है, मैं भी कर लेता हूँ. Some of you look down, hoping you won't have an eye contact with me. So, one of you asked me yesterday, Sir, how many hours we should study? See, there is no measure in terms of how many hours you must study. Generally, my contention is when you're preparing for UPSC, it's always nice if UPSC is your sole work. It's tough to manage UPSC preparation with college, with a job, or other responsibilities. I guess it's always nice अगर आप ये रखो priority पे and only do this. If you're only doing this, then if you are not sleeping, if you are not eating, or maybe taking some time off as relaxation, then you're only studying. But हाँ, study के अलग अलग forms होते हैं. One type of study is active note making. One type of study is active book reading. One type of study is coming to class. And one more type of study could simply be sitting and recalling through whatever you have read. In memorization, a technique है where if you repeat revise, your chances of forgetting becomes less very fast. One revision, ultaya, give a gap of maybe a day. One more revision, then one more revision. If you do 3 or 4 such rounds in short intervals and one full recall. When I say one full recall, मतलब ये होता है, you shut the book, shut the notes, and you can mentally recall whatever has been taught or you have read in one flow, बिना किताब उल्टाए हुए. So I'm memorizing the multiplication table of 2. 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4, 2 threes are, I forget. I opened the book, okay, 6. 2 fours are 8, 2 fives are, again I forget. 11 I forget, again I see the book. Okay. So I do this 3-4 times. फिर एक ऐसा time आएगा when I can recall the entire table of 2, 1 से 10 तक without looking at the book. I call that as one full complete recall. वो one complete recall तक you must keep on trying. So the study also includes this. Study is not always making notes. Making notes एक बहुत important step है. But ये भी पढ़ाई है. Recalling mentally. The question, how many hours you must study, ये सब study है. In some way or the other. So don't fix a hour wala measure. Hour measure 5 hours of work. Hour measure 6-7 hours of work. Hour measure is a bad measure. Your measure should be in terms of outcomes. How many hours nahi? The measure is how much outcome per day hona chahiye. The outcome per day will be class synopsis as one outcome. Okay, maybe 5 or 6 chapters of NCERT as one outcome, or maybe writing 2 answers is one outcome. So your study should be based on such outcomes, and in that outcome, some can take 6 hours, some can take 7 hours, some do it faster, then increase the outcome in that case. Okay, so our basis पे मत जाओ. On some days I'm very efficient. और सारा काम खत्म हो गया in 3-4 hours. ठीक है, then I go take rest for the entire remaining day. Okay, so hour based पढ़ाई I think is a bad strategy because I can sit for 7 hours without any proper outcome, and sometimes I sit for 2 hours and a very good outcome. तो आप अपने पढ़ाई को आउटकम से मेजर करो, एंड आउटकम ऐसा होना चाहिए, आउटकम should be measurable outcomes. जैसे for example, if you come to class and I teach something and you do not note it down, okay, फिर आउटकम मेजरेबल नहीं है आपके लिए. Somebody asks you क्या पढ़ाई किया? I was in class for 2 hours. दिखाओ क्या पढ़ाई किया? No notes, right? फिर वो मेजरेबल नहीं है. So 2 hours of class equal to 10 pages of writing. That's an outcome. I read the whole day today. Outcome क्या है बताओ? Outcome was I was reading newspaper. Then वो measurable नहीं है. I read 2 articles और वो 2 articles का ये summary है. Okay. Then it's a measurable one. I read 3 concepts and I wrote 2 answers. The 2 answers are your measurable outcomes. The only measurable outcome पढ़ाई में is writing. It can be a synopsis writing, it can be answer writing, it can be notes writing, whatever. ठीक है? This is answering one of your questions. So by the way, those who joined me, I think online, I forgot to mention, this is my phone number. You are free to connect with me on WhatsApp messages. Whatever doubts you have, some of you are asking me doubts, I'm answering also whatever I can. If it's a long question I can't answer, then I leave it for the class. Okay, so you can connect with me. Don't call me because I will not pick up the call if I do not know the numbers. It is a habit that I have now. Leave a message with your name and a batch, I'll get back to you. Okay, so let's get started now. So, geographical thought, we discussed with that we are studying the evolution of the subject. Evolution of geography. In this evolution, there are 6-7 broad phases. There is a phase of antiquity, a phase called as Dark Ages plus Arabs. We have a phase of Renaissance and Voyages. We have a phase called as pre-classical geography. We have the classical geography or the modern geography. Thereafter, we have the debates. Broadly, these are the 6 geography phases, and I reconfirm your syllabus is here. So by the time I touch this, it will take me maybe another 2 or 3 days. And this is to help you understand, okay, some concepts जो सारा आप यहाँ use करोगे. Like while I'm discussing Greeks, I'm telling you what is a literary tradition. I'm telling you what is determinism. I mentioned the idea called as inductive reasoning, the purpose of scientific study. Okay, what is cartography? What is mathematical geography? All of which I will use here. Okay, so in these 6 phases, yesterday I covered the contributions of the Greeks and the contribution of the Romans, and I had a quick small jottings on what were the developments of the Dark Age. What's that, Atul? When Plato says universe is geocentric, yes, it basically means Earth is at the center of the solar system. That idea was wrong. It was much later Copernicus and Galileo and the rest who tell us it is a heliocentric universe. So for Plato, it was geocentric. Yes, Atul. But his ideas about Earth is spherical, that is right. Okay. So about the Greeks, I hope आपको वो names याद हैं. So we have Homer, Thales and Anaximander, Hecataeus, Herodotus, Plato, Aristotle, Eratosthenes. Your books might have names like Hipparchus, Posidonius. We don't need so much. Okay, वो भी कुछ ना कुछ map making के बारे में है. These are the main contributors of Greek philosophers into geography, and Homer, again, that book, Iliad, his thoughts about the earth, the Ionian view, all tells us that they were trying to know the world, but lot of world that they described was a fantasy world. It's not that they were lying. Remember this important point. It's not that they're lying, but they are trying to develop a story around something that is beyond what is the reality. So it's not that they're misleading. They never wrote something keeping in mind that after 2000 years geography padha jayega, right? They're writing a book. In the book there are his ideas, his thought, his imaginations, which we look back and say, oh, this part of earth is right, but this part of earth is wrong. So it's not that they're misleading deliberately. It was their creativity, their imagination of how the world is. Okay, give them the due of having thought through what the possibilities could be. Okay, so that's Homer, Thales and Anaximander, map making, meridian, mathematics, use of gnomon. Okay, yes, a place called Miletus in Greece and all of that. Hecataeus, I mentioned the idea called regional geography. ये बहुत important theme है. If you look at geographical thought questions, at least 3-4 times they've asked something around what is regional geography. Okay, ये बहुत important theme है geography. In fact, if you ask me what are the key themes of geography, one important theme I told you yesterday was man-environment relationship. One thing that geography studies is man-environment, how are they related to one another. Another very important theme that geography studies is regions. They take up a place, they take up an area, a region, and then what the region has, how the region developed, what are the elements of the region. Okay, so regional approach is unique to geography. फिर एक और theme है geography में, what we call a spatial theme. It's about locations, places, and the relationship between them. So I'll come back on all of this. But know that ये जो Hecataeus is one of the early works of regional geography, and the book Jess Peridos, your textbook says Peridos Jess. Okay, actually ये शायद mistake है. The right way is Jess Peridos. कोई बात नहीं, it will not destroy our understanding here. A book that was about the descriptions of the earth. Okay, so while he says descriptions of earth, understand Hecataeus as a Greek did not know too much areas beyond Greece. They may have heard about some places. So their earth was largely the earth around the Mediterranean Sea, which they would have assessed or they would have accessed. So Jess Peridos is one of the first regional works describing the features of a place and describing the diversities of that region. So ये बात दोबारा आएगा, but just know that it is among the first regional geography. Herodotus again regional है, but Herodotus does something more. He talks about people, tribes. He talks about barbarians, their trade, their way of life. Okay, so that's why we call Herodotus as an ethnographer. The word ethnicity is about cultures, people, their activities. So एक human element बहुत strong add हो गया when we have Herodotus. Plato में debate है, okay, whether we should be deterministic or possibilistic. So if you ask me, sir, if Plato is talking about Attica as a city has degenerated. A man has destroyed Attica. It looks like possibilism. Then why do we say that Plato is deterministic? एक चीज याद रहे, when Plato gave his ideas, Plato did not brand himself as I am a determinist. अब गांधी जी थोड़ी बोलेंगे कि मैं महात्मा हूं. I mean, if he's wise, he will not do that. Okay, Gandhi ji is saying what he wants to say. Somebody else says, oh, he is a Mahatma. I hope you got the point. Gautam Buddha did not call himself as Buddha. Buddha is somebody who is intelligent. People called him Buddha. Right? So, Plato is saying some things. In what he is saying, we are now inferring. अच्छा, ये जो कह रहे हैं, it looks like he is determinist. अच्छा, ये जो कह रहे हैं, it looks like possibilist भी है. That's why we said, if I look at the ideas of Plato, it is more on the deterministic side. The moment I said teleological, matlab, things are not in your control. God decides, divine purpose decides. Okay. So if somebody is teleological, he is bound to be determinist. But वहीं पर प्लेटो ये भी बोल रहे हैं that man is capable of destroying the perfection of the nature. That's why Cressil says, while he is a determinist, there are elements of possibilism hidden inside him. That's why we use the term he is a crypto-possibilist. I hope you got the point here. देखो, in philosophies, in these discussions, the entire discourse is a debate. आपके आंसर पर debates में ही होगा. What does this man say? How he was challenged? What are the new possibilities? What are the criticisms there? What do I think is right or wrong? So, ये पूरा geographical thought is only debates. Okay, think of what should India be? वो debate ही तो है. India should be a dominion under the British Empire. India should be Purna Swaraj. Okay, India should be a country which is maybe part of Commonwealth inside the British Empire. India should be having its own independent policies. We are sovereign, not sovereign. Who is more powerful, the president or the people? ये debates ही तो हैं और क्या है? So entire geographical thought is debates. Debates, discussions. Oh, he says this. This looks right. Okay, and that continues for some time. Somebody else will come up and say, no, this is not right. I think like this. Okay. Then a clash starts off. Then something else comes off. So Plato, and understand this once again, people like Plato, Aristotle, they're polymath. Polymath means somebody who is a genius into many things. You can't slot Aristotle as a person of one subject. वो मैथमेटिक्स में है, वो फिलॉसफी में है, वो एनवायरनमेंट में है, वो ज्योग्राफी में है. He has some ideas as a part of climate issues. They are polymath बोलते हैं. You can't slot them into one category. To slot and say that Plato was entirely only determinist is a very narrow view of things. So ये debate में, while we see Plato looks like more of a theological determinist, there are elements of possibilism in his ideas also. That's about it. And who says so? This man called Cressil says so. Again, a very important point in geographical thought is, आप अपना idea नहीं लिखोगे. Remember this. While the examiners may be generous in asking, कि अपने tell me your views. Okay. For heaven's sake, don't give your views. Okay. What do you think should India's model of development be? Please, it's a polite way of saying, बताओ क्या क्या पढ़ा है और क्या क्या समझ में आया वो लिखो. Not कि I think कि India must do this. अभी वो औकात नहीं है हमारा. Okay. So even when we say, write in your own words, for heaven's sake, don't write in your own words. You develop the right vocabulary first. You develop the right jargons first. Learn the technique of writing and then write in your own words. So, whenever you talk about a geographical thought, it's nice habit to tell us who said that. Who said that? Cecil said that. Who said that? Plato says that. Who said that? So, what is the idea of a science? Okay, science is ABC. Who says that? Oh, Aristotle says that. So, always give reference of whoever you can. हम ये नहीं कि हर बार possible होगा, but wherever you can do that. In the words of Cecil, okay, there is an element of possibilism in Plato's works, and Cecil says Plato is a cryptic possibility, a छुपा हुआ possibilism है. Otherwise, it's better to call Plato as a teleological determinist. Is it okay, all of you here? That was one debate. Then we had a debate about inductive and deductive methods. Okay, ये बाद में दोबारा आएगा, but just know that scientific studies, okay, there are some methods. Okay, methods of studying every instance, every example, every possibilities, and from this you conclude and give us a general theory. Or you first give a general theory. You first give a general statement. The general statement is, okay, XYZ type of people are good people. Then I'll go and check. As I go and check, yes, right, it's right, it's right. Oh, it looks wrong. Oh, this evidence not fitting in. So with these things, if it is substantial, I will now give another generalization. Then again I'll start testing. Again start testing. I find again there are some inaccuracies. Again with this inaccuracy, I will build a new generalization. That's how theory building or knowledge is like, I have an idea about how to make an house. मैंने सोच लिया कि घर में दो कमरा होना चाहिए. घर बना लिया. Okay. Then by living I discover अच्छा एक स्टोर रूम भी तो चाहिए. Okay, so I now make a storeroom inside my house. Then I'm using. I discover, okay, my house must also have a kind of a balcony where I can stand out, and so again I add a balcony. So science also is an unfinished business. So you start with a general statement, you keep on checking and keep modifying and keep refining whatever you have. So, the pehla method hai, start from specifics towards the theory. In this case, start with a general theory, move towards specifics and keep on modifying. This approach is called as inductive approach. You start from specific towards the general. And this is called as deductive. You start from general towards specific, or you verify from the specific. Nowadays, which approach? Shweta, I said no, most of the scientific researches always follow deductive because it's convenient. This is, okay, you can never study enough of everything. ये कभी ना खत्म होगा ना कभी law बन पाएगा. The inductive method तो है, but in most researches which are of profound consequences, deductive methods are the preferred methods. You keep on generalizing, research, verify, again you modify, and it goes on. Okay? So, deductive, we call this as a hypothetico-deductive methods. You first give a hypothesis, okay, then you keep on modifying. So, this is the more popular method, although this looks more objective and scientific. But ये करना मुश्किल है generally. It's like, you start your preparation with some idea. Okay, ऐसा थोड़ी है कि आपने सब research कर लिया already. You have an idea. Oh, I must do this type of study. You start the study. Then करते करते you discover, अच्छा ये वाला part wrong था मेरा assumption का. Oh, this is the new idea. You modify. Okay, if you sit down कि नहीं, पहले मैं proper plan बना लूंगा. Okay, no flaws, and then study. But you will never end up starting your work. You have some idea, you make a generalization. Acha, I must study 6 hours a day. शुरू करो पढ़ना. Then you discover 6 बहुत कम हो रहा है, कुछ खत्म ही नहीं हो रहा है मेरा. You modify. Then you realize, नहीं 6 hours नहीं, I study 8 hours a day. You go on like that ways. नहीं फिर भी नहीं हो रहा है. I'm studying 10 hours a day. पढ़ा 10 hours, बीमार पड़ गए. नहीं यार 6 भी नहीं होगा, 10 भी नहीं होगा. Let me try 7 hours a day. Hope you got the point here. So you always in real life आप यही करते हो. You start with something general, you get into it, and you keep modifying, keep refining till it becomes more and more appropriate. All good, all of you here? So what is Plato's ideas, what he said, and the concepts of inductive, deductive, and Aristotle also I mentioned that he is kind of giving us what are the principles of scientific study. He again is a determinist, but we also find lot of environmental determinism in the works of Aristotle. When he says that climate decides personality, there are some places you can live, you cannot live. Why you can't live? Because very, very hot environment will not allow you to live. It's like environment is a more important deciding factor than any other factors. So Aristotle is an example of an environmental determinist. Okay, ये दोबारा terms हम दोबारा लेके आएंगे when I come back and teach determinism to all of you. You know about Eratosthenes now, the man who coined the word geography. The Greeks called him as the father of geography because he coined the word geography. And then his works in climate, map making and the rest. ईशा अभी उतने ही रखो आप. The details of which I have not told everything. Okay, so अभी just accept the fact that that's what he is. Isha. Okay, when I take up determinism, I'll explain a bit more. Yes, tell me. Yes, absolutely. ये logical thinker नहीं है. God is perfect. God makes perfect things. Earth has to be perfect. The perfect shape is sphere. Therefore, Earth is spherical. Yeah, ठीक है. What makes you think God is illogical? Scientific के बहुत meanings हैं. One, your friend is asking, why is Plato scientific? So when I say scientific, one is something that can be proved without any, without any mistakes. The evidence-based study is scientific. One. Number two, sometimes we don't have evidences, but the process we follow, that's not a mechanical random process. Nahi. The process has very laid down steps. Okay. And if you follow a step in a process, even that is scientific. Have you seen the end of the universe? No. How do we know what universe can do? Has anybody recorded? हाँ ये दिख रहा है कि universe expand हो रहा है. How do you know universe expanding? Have you seen Big Bang theory or Big Bang happening? ये logical derivations हैं. A logical derivation is, we have observed something called as Doppler's effect redshift. अगर ये हो रहा होगा, it means universe is expanding. We have not seen, have any of us seen, a monkey evolve into a man आंखें सामने? Now how do you say evolution happened? तो वो logic लगा रहे हैं. Logic लगा रहे हैं कि look at the type of bones, there is similarity. Look at the behavior, some similarity. Okay. So logically speaking, it looks like man evolved from apes. Every possibility I am wrong. The idea of God, that there is a power that determine controls. हमने उसका नाम God दे दिया. The power can be energy. Like say, gravity. Gravity is like universal truth. Gravity drives water. Gravity drives winds. Gravity holds everything together. So maybe for me, gravity as universal force is the God. So there is God is not a random idea. If I apply God looks white, God has a long beard, God has wings, that you can question. यार ये आप कैसे बोल रहे हो? So the assumption that there is a power that creates things and nature by power is more perfect than man, that's perfectly acceptable. So I'm not saying कि he's right in terms of empirical evidence. He's scientific in terms of the process he has followed. Yes, that nature is perfect. A perfect shape nature में spherical shapes. Why? Anybody knows this? बताया विकल्प. Because smallest surface area में maximum volume होता है. Okay, there's the best shape in which anything ultimately compresses and accretes. So by that logic, he says, okay, I'm sure all celestial bodies are spherical, and he's not wrong there. Okay, so the idea of developing something as a part of a logical argument, that makes him a scientific man. इसमें debate दोबारा आएगा. We have other scholars also. See, ये God वाला discussions काफी होने वाला है. Okay, because ultimately, what creates Earth is a question. If geography is a study of Earth, ये Earth आया कहाँ से? It's a big question. If study of geography is studying the process of the Earth, ये process का genesis क्या है? Okay, so we will have debates on that. So the idea that अब God नाम नहीं बोल के God word हटा दो. The idea that there could be a powerful force behind that determines everything, that's a possibility. I give an example, right? A very powerful force is gravity. A very powerful force maybe something I do not know, I cannot measure, but kuch to hai that keeps all bodies suspended. Okay, so the presence of a force is an acceptable idea. हमारा problems कहां हो रहा है? जब उस force को हम shape दे देते हैं. So religion, when it becomes institutionalized as do's and don'ts, भगवान है तो भगवान को मीठा ही पसंद है प्रसाद में. ये जो आपने कर दिया, this is the question mark. If I walk 10 steps here, then turn right, then ask for prayer, सारा गुनाह माफ हो जाएगा. यहां प्रॉब्लम हो जाता है. 2-3 मर्डर कर दिया, एक चढ़ावा डाल दिया, तब सब पाप धुल गया, वो प्रॉब्लम हो गया. So there's difference between how we see religion in terms of the force and our institutional practice. वो practices are absurd. The belief systems, those are questionable. My God can only speak Arabic, and that is a supreme language. My God is only Sanskrit God. Those absurdities are illogical. Otherwise, एक force है, एक power है that controls things, शायद है. If I start with an assumption, nothing wrong in that. ठीक है? So we may call it differently, वो अलग बात है. So to say that whatever has happened starts from a force, and that has some purpose, like the river has a purpose, right? हम सब पढ़ेंगे as a part of geomorphology. The purpose of river is to flow down and meet the sea level. Otherwise, अगर ये purpose नहीं है तो river ही नहीं है. That's possible. If I go by that logic, theology is not absurd and scientific. But when we attach properties to it, भगवान को हम ह्यूमन रूप में उतार लेते हैं. मैं गुस्सा होता हूं, मेरा भगवान भी गुस्सा होता है. I am having jealousy, my God also is jealous God. I have urges, my God also has sexual urges. I have got desires, my God. So when I attribute human attributes to God, that's the question mark. Otherwise, the power as a force, perfectly acceptable. Okay? Yes. Different in terms of what the contributions were. Not that कि वो geography कर रहे थे, वो अलग काम कर रहे थे. Okay, so Greeks did stereographic method of cartography. Greeks were trying some meridians. वो भी वही कर रहे थे, but more refined because वो बाद में आए. So the Greek philosophies got inherited by the Romans. In fact, Roman gods and Greek gods have बहुत similarities. Okay, the Greek gods, okay, they were converted into Roman gods. Otherwise, उनके भी वही attributes more or less हैं. The difference lies in, okay, the specifics of what they contributed. जैसे कि Strabo for the first time tells us what should the purpose of geography be. Strabo knows much more. So he writes a 17-volume encyclopedia about, okay, Asia, Africa and Europe. That's one difference. Greeks were not so much of empire builders. Greeks were more into trade. Of course, वो भी बना रहे थे, I'm not saying no. But Romans were more politically organized. Okay? अतुल बस इसके beyond फिर मैं बाबा बन जाऊंगा. Okay? इसके आगे नहीं जाना. Part fact, not getting the meaning of part fact means what? Part which can be verified. And part fiction means imaginations. So, the contributions of the Greek Romans in antiquity about the earth was not entirely correct in every way. उसमें बहुत कुछ fantastic imaginations भी, okay, we have added. That's what I mean by something is part fact and part fiction. Yes, okay, तो वो भी right है. So for some of the scholars, because okay, Homer wrote the book Iliad, so some consider him also the father of geography. ऐसे better geography के बहुत fathers हैं. That way, geography is almost an okay illegitimate child types, the bastard of many thinkers. Okay, so बहुत सारे father, don't worry. Father of Indian geography, American geography, father of modern geography. तो modern geography के दो fathers हैं. इसमें बर्बाद नहीं हो जाना, कोई बात नहीं. We allow it. Geography is adventurous that ways. You can hear questions, Bhumika, I'll do that, but okay, I think I'm more or less repeating what is said, so कोई दिक्कत नहीं. I'll do that, no worries. Okay, chalo, let's move on. Anybody else in doubt on this? Yes. वो word कहाँ से आया? अभी रुको. वो word अभी, give me a few more minutes. I'll move towards that. Anybody else? From what I have taught you, the book will have couple of more ideas and words. Okay, I'll take it up if it's required. But ask me, like he asked me a word, I said, he asked me what is chorology thinking, कुछ idea उसमें आ रहा है. I say, hold on now. I'll come towards that today itself. I'll move on now. Okay, so dark age, you understand. Dark age, the decline of scientific knowledge. Okay, we have lot of distortions in knowledge. The church dominates. And by the way, when I say church, I don't only mean one religion here, but because it is Eurocentric, so it is the church dominating. But ये problem is across societies. Remember this. Okay, a church equivalents are temples and mosques and synagogues. The equivalent of the Bible is our own religious books. उसमें कुछ ना कुछ distortions होगा. Fundamentally telling us that in times when religion starts dominating and religion starts establishing its supremacy, lot of objective knowledge got compromised. Lot of scientific knowledge, okay, got compromised. The interesting example of this was how the world was now depicted as the TO map. We can laugh and we can be cynical about TO maps, but remember, this was the official map of the world, which was accepted by the church, and you challenge this, okay, you are called as blasphemous, accordingly your punishment. Okay, so this is an example of how absurd some of the interpretations were, and how scientific knowledge and about the earth was entirely discarded. Okay, so I'm done with this part. Okay, Shweta, okay. Okay. So next is the contributions of the Arabs. The same way, the 3, 4, 5 names, the contributions of the Arabs. So here I said that the 7th century onwards, 600, 700, and this went on till almost 1100, 1200, some say even 1400 tak. Okay, if you remember in India, Muhammad bin Qasim comes around 1080 types, right? Okay, the time when the Arabs were in the ascendancy. So ये जो 300-400 साल है, okay, in this time, a lot of knowledge was acquired, developed, and preserved by the Arabs. The Arabs were the new scientific community. When I say new, I'm comparing with the Romans and the Greeks. Okay, the Europeans comparison में. The 7th century, say till about 1100 or 1200, okay, 13th, 14th century tak approximately, the Arabs were the new scientific community. इसके 2-3 reasons हैं. One is as traders, they are again traveling. Okay, Arabs were again empire builders. Somewhere the ambitions of Arab to also spread, okay, the word of God, to spread Islam. Okay, so they need to go and talk and interact and conquer and dominate. Okay, so these things forced Arabs to travel. Okay, when traveling, now they discover new things again. The Arabs as traders, Arabs as empire builders. One of big empires, the Ottoman Empire, if you remember that, right? Even the Mongols eventually converted into Islam. The Arabs were empire builders, Arabs were traders, Arabs with the passion to spread Islam. Arabs as they now start traveling and discovering the new facets of the earth. Okay, now they appreciate the earth and its geography better. Arabs, as they travel, they discover new facets of the earth. Okay, as they travel, they discover new facets of the earth, and that way they appreciate earth and its geography better. Okay, and as a part of all of this, the Arabs took deep interest. The Arab took deep interest in preserving the geographical knowledge of the Romans and the Greeks. They realize कि ये बहुत important documents हैं. Okay, so they take a lot of interest, they take a lot of efforts in preserving the geographical knowledge of the Romans, okay, and the Greeks. Okay. So, and the Arabs, Baghdad became okay, the center of learning. The great library of Baghdad, Baghdad, Baghdad in Iraq, it became the new center of learning. Okay, and some of the important Arab contributors, में, so there are 4 or 5 names. Okay, one is Al-Masudi. Al-Masudi, a traveler who had traveled the east coast of Africa, and Al-Masudi discovered the monsoons. Al-Masudi traveled along the east coast of Africa. He saw the winds, the climate, and he is known to have discovered the monsoon. In fact, the monsoon word जो है, It's a corruption of Arabic word mosam or mosim, which means seasons. Okay, so they coined the word monsoons because of what they observed. In fact, it said that while Europeans give the credit to Vasco da Gama to have discovered the sea route to India, before Vasco da Gama came to India, the Arabs knew about sea route to India from Africa. And it said that some Arabs helped Vasco da Gama come and hit South India. He landed at Calicut, if you remember this, 1498 May. So Arabs were very advanced in sailing. They knew the routes, the land routes and the rest. Okay. So Al-Masudi, along with Al-Masudi, there is another scholar, Ibn Hawqal, Hawqal, Ibn Hawqal. Ibn Hawqal made a climatic atlas, one of the first climatic atlas of the world, Ibn Hawqal. Ibn Hawqal. Then we have another man, Arab scholar, again traveler, Ibn Battuta. Again, a great traveler, traveled across Africa, across parts of Persia. Ibn Battuta also came to India. Okay, he was one of the nobles in Indian courts also. Ibn Battuta is known to have studied Indian monsoons, studied India's agriculture. He has documented his observations about Indian society. Okay, so Ibn Battuta is another important scholar. Okay, and a more important scholar is this man called Ibn Khaldun. We'll talk about a bit about him. Ibn Khaldun. Ibn Khaldun, he wrote a book called as Muqaddimah. A book called Muqaddimah. Ibn Khaldun. Now, Ibn Khaldun, in his book Muqaddimah, he gave a theory of how civilizations grow and decline. He gave a theory of how civilizations grow and decline. Because see, Ibn Khaldun has his advantage of having seen the rise and fall of the Greeks. He has read about the rise and fall of Romans. He has seen the rise and fall of the Europeans also. He is studying what is it about societies or people or settlements, how they grow, they mature, they develop, they reach an epitome of success and then they decline. And they have observed this for civilizations like Nile Valley, civilizations like Mesopotamia. Okay, so उसमें वो theory दे रहे हैं. So his theory is that this rise and fall is like a process. He says initially people are nomadic. People are travelers. Okay, and when you are traveler and you are nomadic, you are at the mercy of the nature, and therefore you develop skills to survive and fight the nature. कभी बारिश हो जाए, कभी dry conditions हैं. Sometimes it's very cold. Sometimes no water. So when you are traveler, you are nomadic. You are pastoralists. You are always at the mercy of the nature. So because nature dominates you, you learn to adjust or read nature better. I'm sure you've heard about tribes who can smell the air and say it's going to rain. The tribes who can put their ear on the ground and tell where there's water. Yeah, maybe true है about Rajasthan tribes. They can study the ground, they can hear something and they can yahan pe pani milega, yahan khod dalo. Okay. There are tribes who can predict what type plants will grow or whatever. So he said this is one type of adjustments to nature. You learn to become more strong, you learn to become more hardy. Okay. You are fighting back. You are in survival mode. But then he says, with development, you have agriculture, with development, you have urbanization, and you become a settlers. Nomadic travelers, aap ghum rahe ho, you're traveling. But there's development, you become a farmer. Okay. Your development, you become an urban dweller. Urban dwellers, agriculture does not travel anymore. They settle down. They are settled populations. And when you settle populations, you forget the instincts of survival. Agriculture, irrigation ho ja raha hai. You made a house for yourself now. Bahar cold hai, hot hai, you can survive. Okay. You have learned to manage the seasons. So you have settled down and you have blunted the survival instincts. Typical example is a wild dog, a stray dog, and a domestic dog. Okay, a wild dog is a hunter. A stray dog will fight, survive. The domestic dog is taken care of, pampered, sweater wetter pehen ke rehta hai thand mein. Okay, dog aage, malik piche, right? Lot of care taken. The domestic dog forgets how to hunt. तो खाना भी नहीं आएगा. I've seen people take the dog on the lap, खिलाते हैं उसको and force feed it through bottles. That type of care, the dog is now stupid. Okay, so it loses its instincts of hunting and survival. The man also loses, and he says, with this, what happens is now you are vulnerable to the nature. अब कुछ problem हो गया, कुछ change हो गया, your settlement will collapse. When you are vulnerable to nature, now this leads to collapse. One bad droughts, you die of hunger. One bad floods, you can't revive the economy anymore. One bad earthquake, you can't even run from the areas of earthquake volcanisms. He said, this is how settlements rise and fall. You start as a person who can read nature, you lose your instincts of survival, and ultimately you are vulnerable and you collapse. And while he's saying this, he was also spreading a message to Arabs that if you want to survive, don't settle down. It's nice to be a trader, it's nice to be travelers, it's nice to understand the nature and fight the nature rather than get into your comfort zones. So, in this theory of Mukaddima, okay, what he is telling us about is how environment is a very powerful factor that impacts man. Can you see this as now environmental determinism now? Right now? This idea of man's survival, as being dependent on environment. Man's survival as being dependent on environment is an example of environmental determinism. Is an example of environmental determinism. In fact, some consider Ibn Khaldun as one of the first early environmental determinists. Considered as one of the first early environmental determinists. Okay? The man is subjected to nature's vagaries. Man is vulnerable to environment. Man will succumb if he cannot adjust environment. It tells us environment is a more powerful dominating factor, and man ultimately must learn to survive with the environment. Akash, it applies only to ancient times or present times? आप बताओ आकाश क्या लगता है? If you have survived pandemic, okay, I think all pride is gone now. The idea of man conquering nature, man, okay, superior being. I think एक pandemic virus दिखता भी नहीं है. Okay, घुटने पे ले आया, right? I don't know how you apply this now. If you look at the problems of climate change, क्या लगता है आपको? Is man powerful than the environment? Okay, so some of the wisdoms continue to be applicable even now. It's not entirely wrong, but again, to say that all aspects of life is by environment, we need to qualify that. Okay, anyways, our discussion is not ye right hai ki wrong hai. Our discussion is what did Ibn Khaldun tell us? Yes, tell me. Settlements, yes. Yes. Population grew as long as the conditions were conducive. It takes one bad famine to wipe you out. It takes one bad pandemic to wipe you out. It takes one bad event like volcanism. A Pompeii city was wiped out. But they survive longer. Okay. These people understand it's not about numbers alone. It's about society surviving. That's one. Number two, Ibn Khaldun बोल रहे हैं. We don't have to agree disagree here. This is part of the story. ये end थोड़ी है अभी. एक possibilism भी है. So the idea is right or wrong. We say we can't disagree on he's wrong, but I can't agree on whether he is right every time. The enough examples tell us that yes, when we are settled, we definitely are at the mercy of the nature in some way. Definitely we lose some of our survival instincts. So it's not wrong, but to say that this is the universal truth, that I can put a question mark. हम कहते रहे कि our purpose here is not debating on ये right है कि wrong. There is some wisdom in this. Okay, and Ibn Khaldun is only one version. We're just telling you what he has said. Okay, so some of you have done population geography, you understand. Okay, we had something called as limits to growth. We have environmental adverses. Okay, so वो सब आएगा धीरे धीरे. But if you look at wisdom on the hindsight, man has not escaped environment. One of the biggest, I mean देखो इस idea का wisdom लेके चलो. Wisdom is what? Wisdom is man must survive with environment. अगर environment changes and you can't adjust, you are doomed. This is the wisdom. And one of the most important proof of this is, no matter how much we have grown, developed, the fact is, for food, we must go back to the nature. For water, we go back to the nature. We have not been able to shield ourselves from these two basic needs. Iska wisdom is it's not about taking this idea in the literary sense. Word by word nahi. It's like, आप पढ़ाई मत करो, you will fail. Okay. इसका wisdom क्या है? Wisdom ये है, if you don't work hard, it will become tough. If you do not put efforts, it's tricky then. इस idea का wisdom यही है कि environment is an important factor. Environment adjustment is a very important attribute. societies which can't adjust to nature, societies which cannot blend with the nature or adapt to nature issues, they will always be vulnerable. ये उसका wisdom है. In this wisdom, I'll say he is absolutely correct. But there are other aspects also where man may have managed beyond environment, but वो भी as an absolute नहीं है. ठीक है? Yeah, so Prakriti वो debates वाले issues हैं. This was the contribution of Ibn Khaldun. Okay, as a 3-4 names of what Arabs did. Arabs talked about the climate. अच्छा एक और नाम ऐड कर लो. A very very famous man called Ibn Sina. Ibn Sina, he is also referred to as Avicenna. He was a great Arab scholar. Ibn Sina or Avicenna भी बोलते हैं. And he has lot of works in, he was a mathematician, he was into geography, he has studied even rocks, minerals, okay. So his one big contribution was in geomorphology. He had studied the process of erosion and deposition. Ibn Sina or Avicenna, his contributions are in geomorphology. He has studied the process of erosion and the process of denudation. In fact, his works include studying a river Nile and its delta. Studying river Nile and its delta. In fact, you know, Arabs world में, I mean, of course, now things are better known. Arab world में, the rivers were a very amusing and a very intriguing thing, where you have got miles and miles of sand dunes, one small oasis of water, some wells for water, okay, and here is a massive river. It's almost like an ocean. The Arab imagination में, okay, a river they can't imagine, and they're very intrigued by it. ये पानी इतना कहाँ से आ रहा है? And river Nile, not just water, the fertile soil is almost like the gold of the earth. A fertile soil, floodplains, a massive, productive, rich delta regions, and the whole world knew about river Nile. River Nile, Greeks knew about it. River Nile, okay, Romans knew about it. The power of Alexander multiplied when he conquered Egypt. Okay, Julius Caesar का एक agenda था to conquer Egypt. Okay, the Arabs have known Egypt very well. Okay, so Nile was always mysterious for them. कितना पानी कहाँ से आ रहा है? Okay, and they would study. Avicenna was one of the Arabs who studied Nile River extensively. And Arabs have opinion that this river Nile comes from the southern ocean. Okay, in Africa they have deers. One type of deer is called as gazelle. Gazelle, if you have seen, something like a black buck. Okay, a deer with tall pointed horns called as gazelle. And Africa, and the gazelle population is immense in the savannah part. अगर ये Africa देखोगे आप, in Africa, this is Sahara. Okay, and this part of Africa is what's called as the savanna grasslands. Sahara to all desert, sands, rock, sands, no life, nothing. And here is a beautiful river flowing northwards. Okay, and this part of Africa has a savanna, elephants, lion, deer, lot of deer population. If you compare any ecosystem, the carnivores less होंगे और herbivores ज़्यादा होंगे हमेशा. Okay, so the Arabs must have observed this, and they call this area as the land of the gazelles. Okay, Ghazal-e Haram, as in the land, the home of the gazelles. And they said the river Nile निकल के आती है. It comes from mountain of the gazelles, and they named the source area of the river Nile as Jebel-e Ghazal. Jebel means mountain. Okay. So, और अभी भी आपके एटलस में दिखाई देगा आपको. Jebel means mountain, like Gibraltar. Gibraltar is a corruption of Arabic phrase Jebel-e-Tariq. Tariq, the conqueror, who conquered parts of Spain and the rest, they named the mountain after Jebel-e-Tariq and they now call it Gibraltar. So again, the Arabs were very fascinated with mountains. They're not seen too many mountains. It's all deserts. So Avicenna is studying all of this. कि mountain से river आ रही हैं and the river erodes, and he was among the first people to say the floodplains of river Nile are because of Nile depositing the sediments. For us, it's so obvious now. Back then, they had no idea कि कहाँ से बन रहा है fertile. This formation of the delta of river Nile. You have got Cairo and this delta of river Nile. So Avicenna says the first time the delta is because the river Nile is depositing the sediments and that makes the land so fertile. Okay, so Avicenna's work was in geomorphology, studying river Nile, the floodplain formations and its delta. Okay, so half a page, who were the Arabs and the contributions in terms of climate. And remember, Arabs were more around environmental studies. And understandable, right? Arabs क्या पढ़ेंगे? Arabs can study the environment of deserts. Arab can study the rivers. Arab can study astronomy. Okay, so most of contribution Arabs was around this. Around the Arabs contributions. The Arabs contributions were more in a study of climates and study of astronomy. Correct, Himanshu? Study of astronomy. Okay? So, short write-ups on what are the contributions of the Greeks, of the Romans and of the Arabs. Okay, all of you? Okay. So, this is the phase of antiquity. The times when geography was still very speculative. Geography was not a subject yet. Geography is a list of compilations about what people thought about the earth, what people imagined about the earth. अभी भी पूरा world discover हुआ नहीं है. They do not know about a place called as Japan. They do not know about a place called Australia. They have no clue about a place called Antarctica exists. They did not know that there's a huge ocean called the Pacific Ocean. Okay, for the Arabs, for the Greeks, the biggest water they have seen is the Mediterranean Sea and maybe a bit of Arabian Sea, that's all. The Abibi world has not discovered. It's a very narrow view of man with a lot of inaccuracies, but that was the beginning of the geographical knowledge. Is it okay, all of you here? Okay, so now we have the age of the voyages. We also call this as the age of revivalism. The age of voyages and the age of revivalism. Okay? So this, okay, this is again approximately, it starts off from 12th, 13th century. It goes on till about 17th, 18th century approximately. चलता रहता है ये वाला another 200-300 साल. And age of revivalism. This is the revivalism of scientific inquiry. This was a revivalism of travels and discovery of the earth. Okay, revivalism of scientific inquiry, revivalism of travels, okay, and discovery of earth. Very important was, I said, the sea voyages, and the sea voyages, remember, starts with the Portuguese and the Spanish. They're considered as pioneers, the Portuguese and Spanish. And a very important man who did this was a Portuguese king, okay, called Henry. He's referred to as Henry the Navigator. He encouraged shipbuilding, he encouraged navigation techniques, he encouraged building of compass and maps. Okay, so a revival of scientific inquiry, revivalism of travels, it is encouraging sea voyages. The center of this was Portugal, okay, and this man called Henry, the king, King Henry, also called as Henry the Navigator. अच्छा, इस phase में three things happened. One is they discovered the world and the new continents and the new lands. Okay, the world is now getting properly known. They discovered the world better. They discovered new continents and they discovered new lands. Say North America discover hua. They found out that Australia bhi hai. Okay, they found out sea routes towards India. Okay, they discovered better. They discovered better, and it was aided by making maps, making the world globe. अब कोई doubt नहीं रहा कि Earth is spherical in shape. Okay, they make maps. So a lot of map makers came up, and I think if you know about one of the most famous maps that we know about is something called as the Mercator's map. Mercator's map is a typical rectangular shaped map जो आपके atlas ज़्यादा होता है. MERCATOR, Mercator. Mercator's projection बोलते हैं. It's a very popular map. Mercator's map is the most important map in navigation. It has some properties. Okay. It was made by a man called as Gerard Kramer. Kramer. He made this map. It's called as Mercator's map. Okay, वैसे the globe was made. Earth is shown in a round sphere. Okay, so the contributions of voyages was a new world discovered, a new land discovered, map and globe made, and the discovery of the immense diversity in terms of landforms, in terms of climate, in terms of people, in terms of culture that makes up the earth. The discovery of the immense diversity. That includes a landform diversity, it includes a climatic diversity, it includes people and the cultures. Suddenly, the world is kind of now exploded beyond the regions of the Mediterranean. Okay, so what did the age of voyages do? Okay, age of voyages, we discovered new lands, we made numerous maps. With the maps, what happened was the world gets depicted more accurately. अब ज़्यादा fantasy नहीं रहा. अब वो fantasy कम रहा है. Now you exactly know, where the source of something is, how big is the ocean, how small is the land. Okay, they know the world better, and they also know the world's diversity. Okay, less of ethnocentric ideas now. They know about Marco Polo, for example. He travels to China and he discovers the immense riches of China. The people coming, about India, these guys knew already. A land of gold, trade, spices, pata tha in logon ko. Okay, but all of that now gets properly documented. They know about the world's diversity. Ye travels बहुत important है. Just to give an idea about travels. See, when you're traveling, say I have a ship, and I know, that world is round, world is oceans. Okay, so I can travel, and if I travel long enough, I'll come back to the same place again. एक idea था. Okay, and small voyages were made already. Like the Vikings were among the first European sea travelers. Otherwise, Greeks were more of land travelers. Romans would travel across the Mediterranean Sea. But open Atlantic में not too many of European travelers. The Vikings of Norway, they were more important travelers. The Vikings discovered Iceland, Viking discovered the Greenland, and the Vikings knew about कि एक land है towards west. They did not know what it is. Okay, एक idea तो था. Okay, and see what happened. Okay, what happened was, say this is Europe, and this is India. And India or ye China hai. China is land of silk, porcelain, books, writing. India is land of gold. India is land of spices, a land of cotton, textiles. They knew about it. And beach mein hai Arabs. Arabs control the whole world here. Okay. Europeans 400-500 साल church में रह गए. They lost the connect. Okay, Arabs have become very powerful, trading with this and trading with this, trading with this and trading with this. Arabs control the roots of Africa also. The Europeans get anxious. यार हमें भी जाना है उधर. Okay, and Arabs have become powerful, and very importantly, Arabs control this place called as Jerusalem. Okay. So the Europeans are trying to break the Arab hold. ऐसा नहीं कि Europeans को पता नहीं था about India, but they knew about the land route, and land route Arabs control. Okay, so Europeans started as a part of the religious compulsion. We must take back Jerusalem from the Arabs. They started what's called as crusades. Crusades were the holy wars to fight the Arabs and take away Jerusalem. They didn't succeed much. Okay, the Arabs, they control. Ottoman Empire is huge and powerful. You can't break them easily. So then the Europeans thought, ठीक है, ऐसे नहीं जा पा रहे हैं. Can we go other way around? Can we go on the oceans, cross the oceans and then come here? The idea था कि this side is open oceans. Okay, some said, "Kya we know about Africa here. Maybe we can go like this towards India, maybe." Okay, so because they can't move across the land, ये सब शुरू होता है, voyages. And when they went towards the west, okay, Columbus, they hit what? America, and they thought they reached India. That's why they call this as the West Indies. Yes. Okay. So they were moving to come to India. They didn't know about the land here. So when they reached America, they thought that they have reached India. And Vasco da Gama, because he knew some other people, he said, idhar nahi hai, let's go along Africa and reach here. So how geography controls the navigation routes. And remember one more thing, that when the travelers are going off, they have no idea कि क्या करना है. They have some direction and they are traveling. And when traveling, remember, they also want to come back, right? Okay. So when they're traveling, the captain का एक बहुत important काम है to document every moment of the journey. Okay. वो document करेंगे. I was going straight. The sun was on this side. The moon on this side. The stars on this side. He's making documents. When I'm going, I traveled for 1 day. It was raining very heavily. I traveled for 5 days. It became calm weather. I'm traveling. The water becomes choppy. After 5 days of travel, he's maintaining a record. Like when he's coming back, he can see the record and come back. He'll trace back. This book which had records of the travels, they called this as the rudder. ये book ये जो log book है ना, इसको बोलते थे रटर बोलते थे, RUTT, रटर. And the rudder was the costliest thing you can think of, because जिसके पास rudder है, he can travel by the sea. Have you got the point here? Okay, rudder was the most expensive thing. a captain could possess. To protect the rudder, they had made safe banks. Guards होते थे. ये एक किताब है, इसमें सारा डॉक्यूमेंट यहीं पर है. All spice trade इसी से आएगा. All new land इसी से आएगा. And if you are accused of stealing a rudder, the punishment was death. So I'm just trying to emphasize how important navigation must have been. It's not a matter of only curiosity. It's a matter of empire building. It's an issue of economic trade. It's an issue of the civilization's future. So all of this happening in the times of the age of the voyages. नहीं ये सब लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है. I'm just trying to tell you how important this phase of the discovery was and how this was a turning point in geography eventually. All done, all of you here? Okay. So some facts. I talked about how new worlds were discovered, how the diversity was known more, and how we plotted the world better with more accurate maps, with more better depictions, and with more clarity on the reality and not simply speculative guesswork of what lies where. White tribes were called as Red Indians. Brown skin looks a bit reddish. Okay. Brown को क्या बोलोगे आप? So brown is a shade of a red. The people of Americas are not white like Europeans. The lighter shades हैं. Okay, so they call them as, and they imagine Indians are more darker. Indians are more darker. यहाँ पर Indian इतना dark लग नहीं रहा है. Thought they're red in color और क्या? So those are all you can say ethnic you can say assumptions about how people look like. Okay, I'll move on. No. Anugya, again, I repeat. ये सब कुछ नहीं पूछने वाला आपको यूपीएससी में. But I need you to know some terms, some developments. Okay, I will use अब शुरू हो जाएगा वाला part. So I don't think they'll ask you the important voyages because syllabus में है नहीं, as simple as that. Okay, I move on now. So I'm done with antiquity, dark age, Arabs and the voyages. अच्छा एक चीज याद रहे that in this age of voyages, in the age of voyages में, okay, ये जो revival of scientific inquiry है, ये बहुत important है. यही time है when mathematics is growing, physics is growing. Okay, 1400, 1500, we have the work in biology, physics, mathematics, Newton, Galileo, ये सारे इसी phase में. Okay, the one of the main contributors in the Renaissance times were people like Da Vinci, okay, Michelangelo. So when I'm saying, ये point add कर सकते हो that the Renaissance and the age of revivalism witnessed tremendous expansion of scientific knowledge. Okay, expansion of biology, expansions in mathematics, expansions in physics. Okay, this was a time when the times of I said Leonardo da Vinci, the times of Galileo, so और देर में 1600 approximately is Newton, Lamarck, the man who classified plant animals. Okay, so this time was the age of great scientific expansion in biology, expansion in mathematics and physics, and the contributions of the great scientific scholars. I mentioned Galileo, Newton, Lamarck, Da Vinci. All of them are contributing. Okay, the scientific knowledge has expanded tremendously in these times. ठीक, okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Partly because of the fact that you could break away from the limits of the religious beliefs. Ubair, I just mentioned that Renaissance and revivalism. Okay, this was a phase of tremendous expansion in scientific knowledge. Renaissance and revivalism was a phase of tremendous expansion of scientific knowledge. Expansion in all science subjects, and I mentioned some names. And you're right. This was because I mean, I personally believe if you can rise above three things in life, okay, तीन चीज तो हमें जकड़ लेता है. Okay, it doesn't allow you to do much. Three things I believe is: number one, the clothes you put on. As long as the clothes you put on is governed by tradition, cultures, norms of society. Okay, what will parents say? What will neighbors say? Okay, जब वो consciousness होता है, somewhere you're always troubled by what's modest, what's not modest. Okay, if you can rise above, okay, those limitations. Okay, and of course it includes a lot of restrictions on gender rights and all of that. Second thing you rise above is what you eat. Okay, what you eat, unfortunately, is again governed by a lot of norms, do's and don'ts. एक होता है ना, मुझे अच्छा नहीं लग रहा, मैं नहीं खा रहा हूं, perfectly fine. I don't have a taste for it, I don't eat, perfectly fine. और एक है, I'm not eating because पाप लगेगा, जहन्नुम जाऊंगा. Okay, खाने के बाद में भगवान मुझे तेल में डुबा के सेलिब्रेट करेंगे, whatever. If I eat this, 7 जन्म खराब हो गया मेरा. Okay, मेरा बच्चा मेरा नहीं है, पड़ोसी का हो गया. ठीक है. So ये जो ideas हैं, okay, about food, those are your restrictions. And third thing, who you marry. Who you marry, as long governed by again norms and judgments and restrictions, ये तीन चीज आपको फंसा देती हैं. The day you eat because you like to eat and you are hungry and it's okay, you are kind of big time free. I've seen people who have very strong tastes. Okay, दिन दिन निकल जाएगा, खाना नहीं खा पा रहे होंगे. Okay, you ask for vegetarian food. Okay, वो मटन के ग्रेवी से निकालेगा पोटैटो, vegetarian food. Okay, and it's distressing. What to eat, what not to eat. Okay, who you marry is always, playing in the mind. For that matter, why marry? Right? You can have whatever you want to have without marriage also, right? Okay, and I'm sure all of you have known this and some of you also exploring this. Perfectly fine. Okay, but usse nikalna becomes a bit tricky. Yeah, online guys, you can shut your doors. We don't want your parents to know I'm giving ideas. ठीक है, और मैरी कर भी लिया, ये 7 जन्म वाला क्या कहानी है यार. Okay, एक बार गलती किया तो क्या 7 जन्म तक, कभी तो कभी होगा कि okay fine, okay, you go your way, I go my way, मिलेंगे ठीक है. Okay, so if you can do that, my personal feel is you have lot of energy for many other new things in life. Okay, and it requires a bit of eccentric thinking there. It requires lot of courage, trust me, lot of courage, okay, that to become that kind of a rebel. But if you can, I think your mind starts opening up into bigger things in life. Okay, it starts accommodating, okay, what probably man was meant for. Curiosity, knowledge, discovery, experimentations, okay, explorations. Okay, so I think, and जितने भी मैंने बताया restrictions, they all are imposed through religions. They all imposed through morality issues. वो सारा झगड़ा हुआ है in terms of okay, do's and don'ts set by dogmas. I do not know who or why it has happened. So I think once you get out of that, your mind is open to scientific learning, educating, and you'll make mistakes to learn from that. Okay. ओशो जी की वाइब आ रही है. Okay. तो अब है पढ़ा है इसका मतलब तुमने, right? कुछ कुछ दिल करता है, right? I get your point. ओशो said many things. वो एक चीज पकड़ के बैठ जाते हो आप कि सर वही वाला चाहिए. ठीक है. So I'm happy you have read Osho. Brilliant mind. I tell you, a lot of present day godmen are recycling Osho's ideas. Osho और एक है जिद्दू कृष्णमूर्ति. You must read them. खासकर जिद्दू कृष्णमूर्ति. What he says about life, living. Okay, what his ideas are about God. Okay, एक बार keep your own biases aside. चुपचाप पढ़ो कि क्या कह रहे हैं, सुन लेते हैं. What are they saying? Brilliant minds. They are not regular minds. और because हम समझ नहीं पाते हैं ये छोटे मोटे godmen, okay, they misuse our stupidity. They take advantage of, okay, our naivety or our simplicity. Okay, the godmen are, okay, the least godly. Okay, but we worship them, whatever reasons. Chalo, okay, सब debate stops the moment से सर आस्था है, मैं उससे कुछ नहीं कर सकता. तुम्हारे पास आस्था है, मेरे पास सीमा है. Okay, काम चला रहा हूँ. ठीक है. Okay, get back. So that is done. Now take a fresh page. Pre-classical geography. Or the phase of pre-classical geography. Jiddu Krishnamurti. Jiddu. Jiddu Krishnamurti. हमें रियलाइजेशन नहीं हो रहा है. तो वी ऑल हैव स्पेंड टाइम हिस्ट्री करना है, ज्योग्राफी करना है, साइंस टेक्नोलॉजी पढ़ना है, पॉलिटी पढ़ना है. There is a huge paper called as ethics. Okay, जिसका कोई सिलेबस ऐसा नहीं है. And another entire paper called as essays. Okay, दोनों मिला के 250 मार्क. 250 मार्क 500 मार्क का पेपर है. And these 500 marks is all philosophies. And I'm surprised people write ethics paper and also write essays without having any clue about philosophies. वो कैसे लिखते हैं, I do not know. And that's where your mess up of preparation starts. Okay, your examination demands. See, इस examination एक important demand है, the ability of critical thinking. यही है fundamental skill you have to learn. Not knowledge. Okay, पहले acquire करो knowledge, understand it, and develop your own intellect. This critical thinking test होता है 3 जगह. Okay, ethics paper, essays paper, and your interview. And this is something that we talk about least. हम इतने फंसे रहते हैं, पॉलिटी पढ़ा दो, हिस्ट्री पढ़ा दो, not realizing the game changes here. So please start if you have interest. और एक और चीज, इंटरेस्ट हो ना हो, फिलॉसफीज आपको पढ़ना चाहिए. At least 10-15 philosophers, you must know what they have said. It doesn't matter whether you agree or not. Now, what did Gandhi ji say? I don't agree with him. पर क्या बोल रहे हैं, सुन तो लो पहले. He was somebody who mattered, right? Somebody who have called as father of the nation. Somebody who, okay, was instrumental in how we got independence. How can you not know his basic 4-5 concepts? वो क्या कहना चाह रहे हैं when he says, okay, it should be satyagraha? उनका क्या idea है when he says it should be ahimsa? Okay, what he means by the idea called sarvodaya? कुछ वर्ड पता होना चाहिए, right? Okay, you are the inheritor of the great philosophies of Upanishad and Bhagavad Gita. पता तो हो कि आत्मा क्या है, अहम क्या है, some idea about who are the scholars, the idea of karma क्या है. हम यूज तो करते हैं words very loosely. Write one page and tell me what's karma. वो हमसे लिखा नहीं जाएगा. And you are definitely the inheritor of this legacy. कैसे नहीं पता है आपको? एक पेज लिख के दिखाओ what is Upanishad about. So you are supposed to know this, whether you agree or not. I don't agree with many things, but पता तो this is a land which has all the major religions. कम से कम दो पेज पता होना चाहिए. The core idea of Buddhism क्या है? Not because syllabus में है, because it's part of your life and legacy. You should know a few lines on what is Islam, what is Hinduism, what's Christianity. So हम क्या कर रहे हैं ना, इसको mechanically कर रहे हैं. I'm encouraging you. If you are interested, please do. In fact, यही philosophies we are trying to teach you in those small 3 minutes videos. Go to Edukemy channel. देव सर के काफी वीडियोस हैं small philosophies. और एक दिन में binge watch कर लेना and make some notes out of it. I'm happy. You start. And Jiddu Krishnamurti is a great place to start. I mean, that's where I think a lot of Indian philosophy converges. Now come towards the pre-classical geography. So what happened was, and I'm talking about 1600s and 1700s. To be more precise, it was 1650s and 1750s. So by this time, there was tremendous information about the world. By this, the world was much discovered, and the world was much documented. There is tremendous knowledge about the world. क्या land है, क्या climate पता चल गया हमें, and the world is now documented. So there is enormous amount of information about the world. ये background में 50s में we have a man called as Bernhardus Varenius, a young Dutch scholar. A young matlab he died at the age of 28. And he was a traveled man, Thailand, Japan, parts of China, into Africa. He wrote in German. He understood mathematics, geography. He was again another polymath. Imagine a man who died at the age of 28. Some call him even bigger than Newton in some ways. He was a mathematician, a philosopher, and a geographer. Bernhardus Varenius, a Dutch scholar. He wrote a book called as Geographia Generalis. A very famous, you can say, a philosophical base of geography. Bernhardus Varenius, and his book called Geographia Generalis. And 50s में another German scholar, Immanuel Kant. He wrote a book again. He was a philosopher, a mathematician. I'll talk about him, something called as a scholar, a professor of metaphysics. And he wrote a book called as Critique of Pure Reason. These are two important books. Geographia Generalis of Bernhardus Varenius and Immanuel Kant's Critique of Pure Reason. He was a philosopher, a mathematician. He was a professor of a type of knowledge called as metaphysics. M-E-T-A, metaphysics. I think you all understand the word called physics. But what's physics? Physics is study of anything which has a physical existence. A study of what can be measured. Of course, non-living things. Living things is biology. What can be measured? What can have dimensions, density, velocity, weight. Okay, so that's physics. So meta word means beyond physics. The word meta is something which is beyond. So beyond physics means what? Something which is beyond physical measurement. आप नाप नहीं सकते. Essentially, your mind, your dreams is metaphysics. Okay, my imaginations are metaphysics. The virtual world जो आपके दिमाग में चल रहा है, that is beyond the physical nature of the world. Okay, so metaphysics में mathematics चलता है. Imagine a man studying time. Time is not material, right? Okay, time is beyond physics. Okay, relativity, it goes beyond physics. So this man was a professor of that, and this kind of study requires mathematics, equations, like say parallel lines meet at infinity. Infinity kya hai? It goes into metaphysics. So this was a man of that scholarship. That's very loosely explaining it. Yeah, beyond your existing realms and boundaries. So now both of them, ये दोनों का काम ये था, both of them, Varenius and Kant, they tried to argue and establish geography as a possible discipline. अभी तक देखो geography है नहीं. Okay, while Eratosthenes said geography is science, the study of earth as home of man, but geography as a subject is not yet defined. So these guys are saying that we need to have geography as a proper subject. They try to argue, they try to establish geography as a possible discipline. So they are building the case for यार ये subject important है. That's our discussion here. Okay. So in this, you can give a heading contributions of Varenius. Syllabus में है नहीं, but इस पे questions आ सकता है. Contributions of Bernhardus Varenius. So now I'm entering syllabus more or less. Okay, Varenius, I gave you the details. 50s, he wrote this book called as Geographia Generalis. Okay, now write down 2 lines here. According to Varenius, given the diversity of Earth and its features, according to Varenius, given the diversity of Earth and its features, within bracket write down, Varenius was a much travelled man. Varenius was a much travelled man. He already had written books on Thailand, Africa and Europe. Varenius was a much travelled man. He had already written books on Thailand, Africa and Europe. Bracket closed. Okay. So according to Varenius, given the immense diversity of elements on the earth, okay, there needs to be a subject. There, continue. Bracket close kar continue karo. There needs to be a subject that details and studies. There needs to be a subject that details and studies the elements and the diversities on the earth's surface. the elements and the diversities on the Earth's surface. Right, next. He argued for geography. He argued for geography under number 1, the study of Earth in general, within bracket write down general geography. He argued for geography as number 1, I said, the study of Earth in general. He called this as general geography, and this would include the study of Earth's shape, Earth's size, okay, the study of Earth's climates, study of Earth's atmosphere, okay, the study of Earth's shape, size, climate, atmosphere, study of oceans. The study of Earth in relation to the other celestial bodies. The study of Earth's shape, size, climate, atmosphere, oceans. The study of Earth in relation to other celestial bodies, Earth and Moon, Earth and Mars, Earth and Jupiter. Okay, the bodies of the space and universe. ये भी part of general Earth है. And studying, okay, and comparing, studying and comparing, okay, locations across the Earth. Studying and comparing the locations across the Earth. So ये Africa है. Africa, how is it different from North America? Africa has this, North America has this, Africa has mountain, North America has a rivers, Africa has a desert, North America has maybe glaciers, whatever. Okay, so study and comparing locations across the Earth. He said, ये तीन मिलाकर, he said, it is general geography. And number 2, he said, the study of the particulars of a place. The study of the particulars of a place in detail. This he called as special geography. The study of particulars of a place in detail he called as the special geography. Okay, the special geography is take up a place and the particulars include the local climate, the local vegetation, the local soils, plus the economy and trade of the place, plus what type of settlements, how do people live, and also the governance and the government of a place. The geography is also special geography of a particular place. Okay, a particular place is details of that place, which is the climate of the place, its forests and vegetations, its soil, what type of people who live here. Okay, so these are elements of the human aspects. You study the economy, study the trade of the place, study how people live, the settlements, and study how the government operates and what are the systems of governance, laws, and the rest. The special geography mein, this is within bracket write down that special geography therefore has elements of both physical and human aspects. Special geography has elements of both physical and human aspects. ठीक है? So Varenius दो काम कर रहे हैं. One is the Varenius says, अब मैंने इतना दुनिया देख लिया है, and I have read so much about the world. Let us have a subject called as geography that studies the earth and its diversity. Okay. And in this subject, क्या होना चाहिए? He says, there must be one section called as the general geography. General geography में earth shape in general, earth का density in general, earth के oceans in general, not any one ocean, and earth's relationship with other celestial bodies and these continents, you compare them, okay, across locations. In this, there is no human aspect. In general geography, आप यहीं पे add कर सकते हैं, put a star mark, you can add here. The general geography, back to your notes. जहाँ लिखा general geography, यहीं पे add कर दो. General geography does not have human elements. Does not have human elements. ठीक है? Whereas special geography is both physical and it is also human aspects. ठीक है? Geography होना चाहिए and geography ये पढ़ेगा. This is what Varenius is telling us. Remember, geography is not yet established. He is arguing for the possibility of geography as a subject and detailing what should be the scope of geography. Right further, Varenius also detailed okay, the methods in the two approaches. Varenius also detailed the methods in the two approaches. Okay, so for Varenius, a geography is general geography, a geography is a special geography. And he said, general geography mein, we can use the methods of natural sciences. Okay, I can use methods of natural sciences. का मतलब क्या है? I can use mathematics here. I can use generalizations here. I can use physics principles here. So in general geography, he advocated the methods of natural science. How is physics studied? Okay, laws of inertia, laws of gravity, laws of angular momentum, laws of motions. Apply karo geography maybe. Okay, so while studying winds, apply general geography. Okay, natural science will use mathematics. Okay, so apply mathematics here also. So for him, general geography can use method of natural sciences and use mathematics, physics, and general geography ka objective is to develop laws and to develop generalizations. In general geography, we can use method of natural sciences, and the objective of general geography should be to make laws and to make generalizations. Like generalizations, winds will always move from high pressure towards low pressure. Generalization. Water always flows from mountains towards the plains. Generalizations. Okay. Seasons mein, winter will have convectional rainfall. Summers will have convectional rainfall. Generalizations. Okay. That mountains will have sedimentary rocks. So he said, in general geography, I can use generalizations, I can use laws of thermodynamics, laws of motions. Like I can make general statements about the earth. Oceans the ocean currents always move in a clockwise circulations. In the latitudes, it always becomes cold as they go towards the poles. As I rise up the mountains, I will have again cold temperatures. See क्या है? Generalization तो है और क्या है? So in general geography, I can have laws. A temperature law, pressure के laws, geology के laws बनेंगे इसमें. Okay. So he said this we can do in general geography. Okay. Whereas a special geography is the study of unique features. A special geography studies human aspects. Therefore, special geography cannot have generalizations. Special geography studies unique features. जैसे इंडिया का यूनिक फीचर क्या है? हिमालयाज नॉर्थ में है. Okay. Unique feature. The Bay of Bengal is smaller than Arabian Sea. A unique feature. Okay. There is a Western Ghat and an Eastern Ghat. But can I make a law? हर country के North Himalayas होगा. Can I make a law? Every country will have a Eastern and Western Ghats. I hope you got the point here. When you study specific thing, you cannot generalize. Okay. What's unique to India is only in India. You can't apply to Pakistan or China or the US. देखो laws कब बनाते हैं? When you make laws, when do you make laws? You make laws when there are commonalities. I hold a ball, drop it, it falls down. I hold a ball, I drop it, it falls down. If it falls everywhere, then I will make a law that wherever I go on the planet, if I drop a ball, it will fall down, and this force is called as gravity. So when I make laws, I need to have lot of commonalities. There must be something which is common across. Then I can make one law. I have 5 fingers, you have 5 fingers, 5 fingers, and I say in general, human beings per hand will have 5 fingers. Okay, but when I am studying unique things, unique का मतलब है it's only in that place, nowhere else. I cannot make laws. So for Varenius, the special studies are unique. Okay, the special studies also have human aspects, and her man is different. A man here will farm, a man there will be trading, somewhere else man is probably a herder, somewhere else man is a laborer. Okay, so जहां पर human aspects आएगा, फिर आप law नहीं बना सकते. So you can make laws in the general geography, you cannot make laws in the special geography. So special geography में जो method होगा, this will be descriptive methods. You can only describe what a place has. Add करो. Special geography studies unique features. A special geography studies human aspects. Okay. Therefore, special geography cannot have generalizations. Special geography can only have descriptions. आप पर describe कर सकते हो. I go to India, north में mountains हैं, then you have a plains, then you have a plateau. Go to India, there are 2 huge rivers, Ganga and Brahmaputra. Go to India, as you move away from the coast, it becomes drier. It's not applicable for all the countries. You can only describe. No laws. So, special geography will use descriptive approach. Is it okay all of you here? Okay. Now, ये जो approach है, this approach, where geography is 2 things. There is a general thing in geography and there is a special thing in geography. This is called as geography's dualism. Put a star mark and write down. This is the first dualism. and I will use this word as a synonym for a dichotomy. This is the first dualism or dichotomy in geography. The first dualism or the first dichotomy in geography. But I want to make it a bit more specific. Actually, these two are not same things. When I say dualism, I only mean that there are two aspects to something. Like say, day and night is dualism. Black and white is dualism. Heads and tails are dualism. Right? A house hai, the front door hoga, ek back door hoga. Ye dualism. Happiness and sorrow is dualism. When something has two things, it's called as dualism. This word dichotomy means there are two things and they can be separated and one of them is better than the other. The word Tommy, मतलब होता है काटना. No, say CAT scan क्या है? Computer aided, tomography. Okay, so you are cutting the body using some computer scanners, right? So this word means cutting. So when something has two aspects and you can cut it, separate them, and you say one thing is more superior, then I say it is dichotomy. Okay. But if the two sides both are equally important and they coexist, I use the word dualism. But in most books, ये करते नहीं है differentiate. Actually, in this, ये बताओ, what do you think? Between general, which can use mathematics, I can make laws. Okay, I know about the earth through generalizations. Is this superior or is special geography of description more superior? Which is more superior? Law making, mathematics, generalizations are superior or descriptions are more superior? Anybody? Okay. So if I look at in general science, this is considered more superior. Now law bana sakte hain. You can have mathematics. You can apply analysis of statistics. Like description, anybody can do, right? कि जाओ describe करो वारन. Okay, sir, यहाँ कूड़ा, वहाँ पर वो बर्बाद बैठा रो रहा. Okay, वहाँ पर कोई लूट रहा. Okay, यहाँ पर खाना खा रहा. Describing. A description only requires observation skills. Otherwise, no technical skills as such. Whereas generalizations is mathematical analysis, treatment. So generally, this is considered more superior. Okay. You ask Varenius, he says, no, I need both. Okay. Ye superior hai is the wrong idea because I cannot make laws till you tell me the specifics. If I do not know, person A has 5 hands, person B has 5 fingers, person B has 5 fingers, person C has 5. अगर ये पता ही नहीं है, तो law क्या बनाऊंगा? That all human beings have 5 fingers. So Varenius said, a special geography is the raw material for making laws. And making laws helps me understand the uniqueness of a place. So for Varenius, both are equally important. Varenius, he said, आप अलग नहीं कर सकते. Geography में दोनों important है. Yes. In special geography. ठीक है? But he also has the other approach also. So he takes special geography and then make laws. You're right. It looks like an inductive approach, correct? So if you go by this logic, that geography में both are important, then it is actually dualism, not dichotomy. Your book says dichotomy, but you must know the difference here. Okay, so it's 3 things now. All of you watch. One, Varenius says geography as a subject is a possibility. Why? Because the world has so much of diversity, somebody must study this separately. Number two, in this geography, I must study two things: the earth in general and the earth in terms of the specifics. The third thing, general geography will make laws, will use mathematics, and special geography will be descriptive in nature. You cannot make laws in special geography. And the fourth thing, both need each other. So, Varenius बहुत clear है, I will not take sides. Sir, which is more important? Okay, is making notes more important or writing answers more important? I cannot take sides. If you don't make notes, you can't write answers. If you don't write answers, you don't appreciate the importance of the details that you need. You need both of them. Sir, मैं खुद से पढ़ाई करूं NCERT, okay, yeah, should I look up some books also? I said use both. Okay, अपने भी पढ़ना है, रेफर भी करते रहना है. So in geography, okay, unlike many other scholars, बाकी scholars आएंगे तो बोलेंगे नहीं इसको हटा दो, इसको करो बस. Some scholars will say this is not geography, this is geography. Varenius was very clear. The geography requires both. So in Varenius geography, there are no divergence of the ways. You need both of them. Write down, please, all of you. Write down. According to Varenius, general geography and special geography are not a separation of ways. According to Varenius, general geography and special geography are not separation of ways. They are not strictly dichotomy. They are not strictly dichotomy. They are more like two sides of the same subject. They are more like two sides of the same subject. Where special geography provides a raw material, for making generalizations and laws. And the generalizations help us appreciate. The unique and the special aspects of a place. They help us appreciate the unique and the special aspects of a place. Okay? So for Varenius, we have a special geography. Special geography, okay, provides the specific details. The specific details, it provides a raw material for making generalizations. The generalizations provide laws, and the laws help us understand the specifics better. Make sense, all of you here? Special geography, it provides the specific details. भाई यहाँ पर desert है, ये forest है, water body है. It provides the specific details. The specific details provides raw material on which the laws are made. And the laws made, okay, the generalizations, They give us the laws, and the laws help us understand the specifics better. They help us appreciate, understand the specifics better. That's why important statement hai. For Varenius, general and special are not divergence of the two approaches. You need both of them together to establish the uniqueness of geography. Okay? Achha, now, one important point. Okay. Now see here. For Varenius, जो geography hai, it is general geography that does not have man, and I can make laws. In the special geography, there are human aspects, and I cannot make laws, I can only describe. This, he says, is a bit tricky. He says, because human aspects को law में ढालना मुश्किल है. How man behaves, what man does, his occupations. You cannot make laws on man as easily. Therefore, he says, okay, I am not very keen about human aspects, but I am still doing it. Otherwise, geography will be incomplete. It's like, I don't like mathematics, but CSAT hai to padhna padta hai. Have you got the point? So two things here. There is geography which has general aspects and there are special aspects. Varenius says, I am not taking sides, I need both. Both are important. फिर geography में एक physical aspect है और एक human aspect है. I love physical because law भी बनते हैं, describe भी कर पाते हो. Human aspects में law नहीं बनते हैं. So Varenius says, I don't like human geography, but I am doing it. So in general special, Varenius has no bias, but in physical human, he has a soft corner for physical geography. So इस case में, I can see some bit of dichotomy. Given a choice, he said कि मैं human element छोड़ दूं. Okay. So in Varenius geography, while there is no dichotomy in special and general, there is a hint of dichotomy in physical versus human aspects. Right, next. Okay. However, okay, or maybe give a subheading, physical versus human in Varenius. Physical versus human in Varenius. Write down that even though there is no dichotomy in general versus special geography, there is no dichotomy in general versus special geography. Varenius was, however, not very enthused with. Varenius was not very enthused with, very excited with, enthused with human aspects. With human aspects. And hence, there is a hint of dichotomy, and hence, there is a hint of dichotomy in physical versus human geography. In physical versus a human geography. Is okay all of you here? तो इसके ना 3 क्वेश्चन बनते हैं. Straight away, write a note on contributions of Varenius. ये straight question बनेगा. And your 2-3 page is your answer. Second question is, write about general versus special geography. ये भी बन जाएगा आपका आंसर. What is geography, possibility, and finally about write down the views of Varenius on human and physical geography. Okay, this is almost like straight answers I'm giving you. By the way, one strong recommendation: none of you will try any answer writing on this topic right now. Okay, and agar likhna bhi hoga, it's more like a revision exercise. Write a note on contributions of Greeks. It's not an answer, there's a recall thing there. Take out your textbook, please. Dikshit. Page number 31-32. It says from cosmography to scientific geography. Contributions of Bernhardus Varenius. जो word cosmography है ना, cosmography is geography which is part fact, part fiction as a part of encyclopedias. Remember what Strabo had done or what Homer was doing, where you have a massive encyclopedia, part fact, part speculations. We call that as cosmographic writing. So from cosmography, I am moving towards scientific geography. Okay? So look at the next page, page 32. This one page is important of Varenius. You don't need more than this. It says, there was this book called Geographia Generalis. Yeah, Geographia Generalis here. Bernhardus Varenius. Keep underlining as I do it, okay? A Dutch scholar, outgrowth of the cosmographic tradition. Then it says, look at the fifth line here. Varenius set forth clearly the distinction between two forms of geographical scholarship. The one concerned with the description of the particular places, which is a regional description or chorology. इसी को बोलते हैं special geography. Okay. And the other concerned with the general concepts and the hypothesis of wider applicability. He termed the first as special geography or particular geography and the other as general geography. Okay? The next paragraph, look at the fifth line here. It says, Geographia Generalis was to become the basic tenet, the basic philosophy of geography as a branch of knowledge, which has ever since retained a twofold division. आज तक geography में ये है. There is a general geography of the world and there is a regional geography of India. This division still maintains. But आज के date में we use the term systematic, not general. But general basically means systematic. Like say the climate of the world, the winds of the world, the oceans of the world, the forests of the world. That is nothing but your systematic or general geography. It has become a basic tenet, okay, that has been retained ever since, regional and systematic. Okay. Look at the next paragraph. It says, the third line is paragraph. Special geography provided the result of in-depth study of a particular place and the regions which provided the raw material on the basis of which general geography could pursue the task of depicting special patterns or distribution. Once I study the specifics, I get raw material on which I will do some generalization of distribution. Special geography was of great practical value. Okay. Special geography was about commerce, about government. General geography was about principles governing the distribution of phenomena. Okay. To Bernhardus Varenius, next paragraph, last 6 lines. To Bernhardus Varenius, general and special geography did not suggest any dichotomy. there was no separation of ways. Take all of you? Okay. To him, the two represented mutually interdependent parts of geography as unified field of scientific learning. Is it okay, all of you? Special और general में से कोई divisions नहीं है. The next paragraph, page 33 में देखो, it says, special geography, okay, is description of a particular place in terms of celestial condition, climate, terrestrial condition, relief, vegetation, animal life, human conditions, including trade, settlements, forms of government. लिखा है आपको मैंने? What does special geography have? It has the specifics of a place. The celestial specific as in उस जगह में night sky कैसा है, okay, उस जगह में कैसा landscape है, what type of forest, what type of soil, what type of climate, what type of people who live there. So special geography is about human conditions. It is true though, Varenius was none too enthusiastic about human geography, since the subject's matter could not be put to exact mathematical analysis. So although he is studying human geography, but he says, इसमें मुझे मजा नहीं आता, because human geography can't be converted into laws like those of physics. So while there is no dichotomy in special and general, I see some hint of dichotomy at physical versus human geography. Is it okay, all of you here? What did you miss? Tell me. ये schematic में मैंने क्या लिखा? उबैर, special geography. Special geography, it provides the specific details. The specific details provides raw material for generalization. And the generalizations give me laws, and the laws help me understand the specifics. श्वेता, मां करा दिया बुक आपको, ठीक है? Now see, one recommendation to all of you here is, in your notes, देखो एक problem आप लोग कर रहे हो, and I have told earlier also, your notes must have the page number of the books. Otherwise, जब revise करने बैठो, see, remember one thing, all of you, ये सब काम आएगा for most of you 2 साल के बाद में. If you clear prelims, 1 साल के बाद नहीं खुलेगा किताब. For many of you struggling, it could be 2 or 3 years also, God forbid. So अगर ये organized note नहीं है, आप revise नहीं कर पाओगे, remember that. So in the notes, mention the page numbers. And I know of students who take a Xerox of the page and attach with the class notes. Perfectly fine. Whatever works for you. But make sure you have mentioned it. One. Number two, synopsis of this unit requires lot of thorough work. Synopsis में try writing the exact keyword. When he says regional, फिर आप regional ही बोलो. If he says special, use the word special. He says there is no separation of ways, then you say there is no separation of ways. So keep the language right. The synopsis of geographical thought can be a bit more longer than otherwise. Doesn't matter. Keep on doing it. Take all of you. Fine then, that's for today. Today you have your case study at 2:30. Please sit back if you can. Take you 15-20 minutes and then you can move on. हाँ, लिंक है आपका.